What is he going to fix? Well, the problem is a bit complex. You see, on one hand, in the world, we have things like sickness and tornadoes, kind of death type things. And on the other hand, we have imperfect desires, and that often leads to things that result in guilt and shame. And so, whatever the solution is, it's got to address both of those, the guilt and shame, and also the brokenness that's affected nature itself. The King of the universe must do something about evil. If he's a good judge, he must enact justice. Because if he doesn't do anything about evil, if he simply lets it go unpunished, then he's not a good judge. But the Bible describes that the King of the universe also desires to make some guilty people innocent. He wants to make them part of his family. So how can a good judge make some guilty people innocent, but still be a good judge at the same time? The answer is found in the words of Jesus. We check out John chapter 3. This guy named Nicodemus rolls up to Jesus and he starts talking about some of this stuff. And here's what Jesus said. He said, "For God loved the world so much that he gave his only son, that whoever believes in him should not perish but have eternal life. For God didn't send his son into the world to condemn the world, but in order that the world might be saved through him. Whoever believes in him is not condemned, but whoever does not believe is condemned already, because he has not believed in the name of the only Son of God." The problem was guilt, shame, and death. The solution was the King, Judge, and Father of the universe writing himself into the story and taking on guilt, shame, and death at the cross of Calvary through the person of Jesus being crucified, buried, and then on the third day risen to show that sin, shame, guilt, and death isn't the highest authority in the universe. The Creator has enacted justice. He has established a method for the guilty to become innocent. He's paid all the adoption fees for us to join in his family. And if my status of in the family depends on whether or not, or solely based on if I love and trust the one who's paid the consequence for my actions and also paid for all my adoption fees, then there's no way that I should think of myself as better than anyone else. By saying that I'm with Jesus is to acknowledge my guilt and my shortcoming. So the cross takes care both of guilt and shame, and also pride and arrogance. I'll suggest to you that no worldview has a more real, beautiful approach to evil, one that acknowledges that evil exists and provides a solution for it. To wrap things up, Henderson's main points seem to be: there's no good reason to believe in a creator. The Christian idea of God isn't even a good one. Belief leads to a mental prison. Certainty leads to arrogance, and it's all made up and the points don't matter. And what I've attempted to show is that Jesus is actually a pretty cool dude. He would surprisingly agree with Henderson on some things, but also disagree with Henderson on some important points. Next, Judas' diagnosis of evil and the idea of God's justice is actually better than what we might often think. The Bible describes a creator who upholds justice, makes a way for guilty people to become innocent by writing himself into the story like a Gloria Stanley cameo. Last couple things: certainty doesn't always lead to arrogance. In fact, the kind of certainty that Jesus calls for is humbling in its very nature. Lastly, we have to be open to the idea that the author of nature might not only reveal some things about himself through the beauty of nature, but also actually want to be involved in a way that he knows is ultimately for our good. And he has no obligation to do anything for us or in the time frame that we desire, but he still definitely works. Anyways, that's my 2 cents. I just want to say a big thank you to my wife for helping out with the illustrations and putting up with me through all this. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.